I'm good. It's a great day. It's the holiday season. We're getting into yet another finals here this time for Georgia. And you know what? I cannot wait to cast with you today. My good friend Lennon, my good friend Mazel. We're here for some League of Legends action. It's been too long, and yeah, it's gonna be a great day. I hear today we have a best of three, so probably a little bit of a quicker one, especially if you were watching yesterday where we had a series that went all 5 games. Oh boy. Oh, oh no. Oh no. All right. I'm hearing that Mazel is not able to be heard. I'm sorry about that one. We'll get that fixed eventually. For now, you can just look at Mazel's very handsome face. I like your hair today, by the way, man. It looks great. But anyway, I'm looking forward to today's games. We've got two teams coming from the Georgia region. We've got Northview Varsity. We also have the Longhorns. Now, the first of which, the Northview Varsity team, these guys is the first seed in the event. They took out all of their matches up until this point, and there have been a lot of matches. We looked through the bracket. There was a round of 32, around a 16, 8, 4, and now all the way up to the finals. It's been a tumultuous journey as we're seeing Northview finally make it all the way up to this finals as that first seed, the team that we expected from the get-go. And their opponents, the Longhorns, while they did start as the 7th seed, still made that same journey, that same trek all the way up to the finals as well. And it looks to me like they did a lot of that off the back of their superstar top laner, who ended the ranked season in Master Tier, which is quite the accomplishment. A lot higher than myself, I will say. I only ended up in Diamond 4. But yeah, all the way up there in Master for Wordles. Really exciting player to look out for. It looks like he's playing a lot of Urgot and then a lot of tanks after that also. So some pretty big team play right there, and pretty big Urgot as well. I'm expecting that Urgot is going to get banned away because it does feel like that is the main carry champion for Wordles in this series. But we'll have to find out. Maybe he's got some more tricks up his sleeve. I definitely did not find anything else other than those major tanks in his profile page. It's definitely the option for things like the Gnar as well, though. So that one's still a tank, but more of a carry, and especially if you ask our good friend Joshi, another caster friend who was on just yesterday, he'd tell you that the Gnar is definitely a carry as well. He's a big Gnar player. So um yeah, pretty exciting stuff. I'm hoping that we can get my good friend Mazel back on pretty soon. We're having a little bit of difficulty in the audio department, which is kind of weird because we can hear him on the call that we're using, but just not coming through here. Um, yeah, we're gonna have to keep figuring that one out. Um, yeah, we're getting through all of this one. Da-da. Trying to get some updates for everybody. But yeah, I hope that everyone's having a great holiday season. It's been pretty fun for me. Uh, you know, all the meeting up with family and everything. It honestly, I know the students and the players here today are playing from Georgia, so it's probably a lot warmer there than where I am in Michigan. But honestly, it's been pretty warm up here as well. I was expecting that it would be a lot colder, but it's been in like the 50s. I think right now it's like almost 50 degrees up here. But with all that heat, it's maybe wearing down on Mazel's microphone or something. It's probably not that. But regardless, we're going to try to figure that one out here pretty soon with Mazel, and we'll be right back as soon as we figure that one out. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Are you on Firefox? Because usually that works better. Oh, well.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm so sorry about that. We got everything figured out. The technical shenanigans is out of the way now, Smacks, and we have a series to play.
We do. Welcome to the land of the living here, Mazel. It's good to hear your voice.
I like
the land of the hearing as well. We can all hear and listen to the beautiful sounds of Land of Mazel White. We're getting into the game rather shortly. Again, apologies for that break. And apologies that you had to listen to me talk about the weather for a little bit.
I could do that all day long, Smacks. You talk about the weather all day. It's fine. We are going into things here, though. It is Northview varsity going against the Longhorns here in the Georgia Finals. Northview on the blue side for the first game of this best of three, as you had mentioned earlier, Smacks. Longhorns on the red side. We're already through the thick of things for the first phase of bans. Urgot, Nar, Graves banned away again, by Northview, and Camille, Morgana, Vane banned against Northview.
Urgot and the Nar definitely targeting top lane here for Wordles. Like I was mentioning before, both of these are some damage-dealing champions that Wordles likes to play in that top lane. It has played it a lot. Some of these champions were the reason that he got all the way up to that master tier, that coveted master tier. And looks like we are going to be saving that counter pick for Wordles for later, now that those champions are banned, instead piloting the Hecarim and the Caitlyn so far in this draft.
I actually kind of like that setup. It's a little bit interesting of a setup to draft for the first two for the Longhorns, but the Zinzao on the other side gives me some confidence in the jungle pathing for Northview especially, and I want to see what they pick up with their 2 and 3 going into the second phase where we will see a couple more bans. They're immediately going to come off the board and say Azir and Yone are the double pick.
That's pretty crazy, because usually you end up seeing Yone in the mid lane, but I don't really see a world where Azir goes anywhere else. So it feels to me like this is going to be a Yone top. Definitely a bold choice against this player for Wordles that we've seen, just completely wreck house up in that top lane. Potentially on Silas too, another flex option. Could go mid, could go top. We're gonna have to find out later.
Okay,
even if you're really crazy, like Carria and LCK, this could be Silas support.
True. We do have an update. It isn't Azir. It is Yuumi actually for Northview.
Oh.
So that makes things work out a little bit better. I was gonna say, man, Steel going against Steel there in the top lane, gotta go with some strength, but I can appreciate the Yuumi as well being locked in there. Now we are in the second phase of bans. After that Silas you mentioned was picked up, the Wukong Jinx off the table for the Longhorns, and for Northview it's the Cho'Gath that actually comes off, and the Darius. So a lot of bans towards that top side. I wonder why.
Yep. Definitely makes a lot of sense. I imagine that that'll continue to be the case throughout the entirety of this best of 3 finals. Just a lot of pressure up there from that top lane. And if you're Wordles in this case, you have to go back to maybe like the 5th string champion, maybe even further down than that to try to counteract some things that are going to be thrown your way. The Renekton is the choice up in that top lane, and it'll be responded to by Mordekaiser. So a bit of a stalemate in that top lane, unless we do start to see the fireworks start to explode from the jungle pool.
That's what I'm looking for. This both junglers looking towards the aggressive side of the jungle nature at this point, and very much looking forward to that first gank setup for either of these teams. Now, the last pick for Northview is going to be pretty integral. It's going to be their ADC pick, and they pick up one of my personal favorites in the Jhin.
Really like the Jhin answer into Caitlyn. You have a lot of moments where Caitlyn is very projected in where she's standing, because yeah, she has a long range away, but so does Jhin, and you can definitely land things like that Deadly Flourish quite easily with a lot of these moves. Now for Longhorns, this would be very interesting if the sign is locked in.
It's the Silas support. It's gotta be. No,
I called it from the get-go.
There might be some shenanigans afoot here, as we've seen, but so far, so good.
Wow, that's really funny if that actually ends up being the case. So here are the reasons why it actually might be true. One, silo support isn't entirely unheard of. You have a lot of crowd control with it and some sustain, which is pretty nice. Two, the Renekton matchup into Yone is quite good for the Renekton. You don't have a very fun time as Yone into this bruiser because you can't really poke him out. He's got a lot of sustain. And if you try to dash forward, he will stun you, so you can't actually get a lot of that damage off either. So both of those things might mean that it actually is silo support, and then you're sending Renekton in it.
I'm very excited to see where they all kind of end up, because these compositions are perfect for a game 1 of a grand final. It's like, I'm so excited because obviously we're building up Wordles, top tier player in this matchup here, but being able to find the team cohesion, the reason why they are the #1 seed, is super crucial for Northview. And with a composition like this, you have some weapons to deal with, but also it all comes down to execution, right? And that communication that's going to be so key.
You know, something that Northview also has to keep in mind is that they have locked in both Yuumi and Mordekaiser, which means a couple of things. The Yuumi and Mordekaiser do work really well together, which is a very nice bonus. So even if Xin Zhao does fall, or Yone, you do have that backup. But if Mordekaiser goes into Death Realm, you pop off the Mordekaiser as Yuumi. So you got to make sure to coordinate that well. And if you're the Mordekaiser and Yuumi comes over, and be like, I'm using ult. Pick somebody else.
Be ready. But that's also the question. If you're going into this composition for the Longhorns, you've got such a wonderful bouquet of interesting flowers here for yourself, it feels like. And we've got to wait to see where everything pans out to be. But being able to pick and choose the right matchups for them seems to be super important, and something they've been able to do here in game #1.
There's just a bunch of unique champions, which is always my favorite thing in these high school tournaments, Mazel. There's always some off-the-wall champion that ends up being locked in, and it's just something that you can never possibly be prepared for. It's just these high school kids, these Zoomers, they're always coming up with all these new strategies on their TikTok accounts.
Yeah. You tell him, Smacks. You tell him.
Yeah, you youngsters.
Yeah.
I have a TikTok.
I want to learn from him though, because I need to start using some of this for the preseason. So it is really exciting though. That the fact that we get these kind of niche picks, these comfort picks coming through, but as well as on top of the absolute chaos that is the preseason, like it's just super exciting across the board.
Yeah.
I am sad we're not seeing like Akshan and Vex and things along those lines, but that'll be later. That'll be like game 2, game 3.
I don't think we've seen any Vex so far in like all the finals. At least not the ones that I've been a part of quite yet. Maybe there was some yesterday. To be honest, Mazel, that one went 5 games and it was in Hawaii, so that time zone was like just not gonna work for me.
What are you talking about, man? That's perfect for me. PST, it's fine. I'm closer. It works out.
They finished at 3:30 a.m. my time, so that would have been after midnight even for you.
That's a yikes. That's a yikes.
It went pretty late.
These high school players putting in the work, man.
I know.
But they're young. They can stay up. They can do this kind of thing. They can game into the night and win those championships. No, it's super cool. Honestly, I know we're only getting a best of 3. I'm really hoping we go the distance here because I would love to see as much action as possible here between these two teams.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if we're coming out the gate swinging with Silas support versus Yumi. Like, that's just a sport matchup that I can't wait to talk about because me, I'm a sport player. I love seeing some wacky stuff. I've been taking some notes for some of the things that these high schools have been putting together.
What has been the biggest takeaway?
So for me, the biggest one that I've seen so far is actually Glacial Augment Janna. That one seems to be the best.
I don't want to play against that. I don't know. I'm switching lanes. You don't. I'm not going to be an ADC anymore. I'm done.
You definitely don't want to play against it because I thought that was actually a really smart play because it works off the tornado and the ultimate. And then because the slow is increased by shield and heal power, you get to build things like the Moonstone Renewer and Redemption and that sort of thing, and the slow is even bigger. So I thought it was actually really smart. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet because it was only 2 days ago, but that one seems to be one of the smartest pocket picks that has come up in these. So
that's awesome. I don't think I'll ever try that one out myself. I'm not a Janna player, but I applaud you for going to try that one out one of these days.
She's fun, man.
Tell me how it goes.
Yeah, I will.
But seriously, going into this, right, like with these compositions, setting up this best of 3, this is a lot for both these teams, right? It's been a long journey to get to this point. So it is a little bit interesting to have it burn so quickly into a best of 3, but it makes each game that much more important, right? You don't get that extra leeway going into a best of 5 where, yes, you can pick a kind of wacky composition for game number 1 and drop a game, right? You are immediately backs against the wall if you lose this game. So there's got to be some confidence instilled in both these teams for this setup that they have for game 1.
Only one safety blanket in this one. The net underneath the trapeze that is the Silas support that we're about to witness. I can't wait for this one because when you get into those positions, it's definitely easy for a lot of the teams that we've seen in the competitive landscape for a while now. They just get very defensive. They're like, all right, we're at this last position. We can't afford to mess up. We can't afford to take any risks. But at the same time, you gotta sometimes just take the 50-50 play. You gotta take something that will give you that edge moving forward into the game, because if you win that 50-50, then the game is like completely over at that point. So it's definitely a risk reward system here in this best of 3, and like you said, the risk tolerance is a lot lower because there is only those 3 games. You can only afford to lose 1 match, but at the same time, you gotta step on a few eggshells to get to the other side. So we'll see if they can actually do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I just love it that we get those big storylines coming into this one, right? You have the fact that it is Wordles in the top lane who is looking to carry this team through to victory with the help of his teammates, of course. And on the other side, it's the power of friendship, the power of teamwork, the communication, the number 1 seed going against them. And so it all works out beautifully for the final.
You know what, Mazel? We've seen what Wordles likes to do on this Urgot. He likes to go for the hull breaker build, so he's just split pushing his heart away.
Oh no.
Does he do it on Scion? That's my question here, because it's definitely possible to be done on this champion. It's traditionally just a tank, so you're just building a bunch of tank items. But just throw a hull breaker in there, man. Make sure that you've got some side lane pressure. This champion's sort of unkillable at that point. And yeah, Mordekaiser can throw you in the death realm, but like, what's he gonna do to you? Hit you with his mace?
I'm looking for those like unique Scion plays, right? Like the jungle steal away, like trying to time out things and figure out the path. As does look like Smacks, we are on to the rip for the first game of these Georgia finals. It is Northview Varsity going up against the Longhorns.
I can't believe we actually got Silas support. I was completely joking.
I literally said that as a joke, and it just happens in game 1. Prophet smacks at the ready.
Thank you, Pearl Sib, for pulling out all the stops to make this one an unforgettable game 1 already before it even begins. Got some vision control laid out to counteract Peakheader's jungle invade, and Purple Crab trying to attempt the same thing on the other side will soon find himself in a 1v3.
And so it is Purple Crab instead of Jelston. So interesting on that one.
That's true.
Didn't know that until we loaded into the game, but already getting work cut out for him in mid lane, especially with that damage taken early on. Does get the back, but I will need to get right back out the lane. It looks like both jungles. Yes, what?
Derpy Legend is playing Yubi. It's perfect.
Is that Yubi?
I think so, yeah. It's just a chroma.
Ah, I see.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely Yubi.
Gotta love it. But the fact that, actually, we also get the Jin Yumi combo, which I haven't seen in a little while as well.
Actually, now that I'm looking at it closer and we've zoomed in, I think that's actually Battle Academia Yumi.
Oh, no! Why? Why wasn't it done? Oh, my gosh. The script is all wrong. The script is wrong.
We're going to see as soon as the Prowling Projectile comes out.
Oh, no.
If it's blue, then that's... Okay, yeah, it's Battle
So
Academia.
It is Battle Academia. Darn. All right, well, the Derpy Legend, you missed out. Just saying. Yubi does take a lot of damage going into lane, and now they'll be forced off of this wave. That is a very tricky situation to be in for Northview.
There's a certain point where you're kind of okay being under the turret against a melee engaged champion like Silas and like Leona as well. But at level 1, when there are a bunch of minions there to be killed, that's not really the point. Because now you're against a level 2 Caitlyn, level 2 Silas. And even at this point, they will still be able to punish you and get you some damage onto you underneath this turret. Yeah. Against Caitlyn, it just doesn't end up working out nearly as well. So it's a little hard to work around with this spot.
Mafyan taking some trades against Wardles. Wardles actually ends up putting a decent amount of damage back as well on the top side, but not going to go either way just yet. And junglers finally completing the second half of their pathing as they make their way towards bot side of the map.
That's the kind of trading that I was mentioning before with the Renekton. You're seeing that the stun is really effective against the Soul Unbound. However, I do really like that Harimia did have the Q stacked up to 3 right away and still landed with that sweep. So ended up winning the trade regardless, maybe showing that the Purple Crab doesn't quite have the same grasp as you'd expect in this matchup here on this Renekton that can still be tricky.
Carlson going into some trading bot side does get about half his health bar taken back, but nice trade from Smart Little Pig with the tilt over Peacemaker. Not too bad. It looks like a back will be completed for Pekdar, but still on the map is RRR going for the invade here. Was thinking maybe make circle around the mid lane. Purple Crab takes a good engage against Oremia and not going to find the jungle gank into the mid lane just yet.
This mid lane is so volatile. I don't think RRR is spotted quite yet. Yeah, ooh, really nice positioning there to make sure that he's not in position to be spotted. Both mid laners have Ignite though, so you're definitely expecting that there's some action looking like it.
RRR has stopped the back about 3 times. Now Pekadar is coming towards this top side of the map with the item advantage as well.
Uh-oh.
Now we get the mid lane scuffle. Purple Crab with the first blood.
The sustain and the level up to 5 means that Purple Crab gets to survive all of it. Uses the flash, uses the ignite, and all of the Renekton early game damage. And Kyoko thought that they were safe the entire time because the jungler was camping out, putting up shop around the lane, but not quite the case. The early game Renekton ended up working out after all.
Victor on the first gank here with the Sheen completed, has a lot of damage, and RRR is just late to the fight. Wordles has to get away, still has available, but Pekidar's on the wrong side of town. When Becomes Lightning does go wide, but he falls anyways to Mukyan.
Nowhere to go if you're the pony after that one. May have been late to the party there for our on Xin Zhao, but better late than never, as I always say, Lennon.
Fashionably late.
Just in the nick of time, yes.
And things have turned around on the bot side of the map. Smart Little Pig almost dies to the Prowling Projectile, but the pressure is on. And for
no mana for UB to cast Deadly Flourish. Would have been a nice attempt to throw that one out. There's no heal for Smart Little Pig, so if it does connect, that is just it. Still a flash, but would have been a good attempt if had the mana been there. Now Purple Crab using the Iron
Fate
Spike
Sealed is available here.
Trade.
Not going to pull the trigger.
Yone ult is so crazy. Oh, okay. So now Purple Crab's pretty safe. As long as he gets that cast off of the Dominus before the ultimate from Yone comes through, Fate Sealed will be able to live most likely. Probably just waiting for the Ignite cooldowns to come back up to get more kills in the mid lane.
Yeah, true. We are getting a lot of bodies down towards bot side here, and I would want to say that maybe the Longhorns want to go for an early dragon. Is Infernal Dragon to start us off here, but both junglers will be pathing down this way.
About what they need to accomplish before taking this Drake. And they're definitely looking like they want to move bot lane before this, setting up some vision, clearing that one out, maybe baiting in some members, try to aggress upon this. Yuumi and Jin surprisingly safe without any movement, just because they do have the zoomies to speed them up. What if you walk up?
He goes on the backside of this, though, and they are in trouble here. Yuumi is going to go down, but DP already utilized from the top lane of Northview. Now they try to turn the fight, but that's a double kill already for Pegdar. Pearl Simp will be next to fall after Smart Little Pig, unless there's the healing from the Kingslayer. Wind becomes lightning, and Pegdar is the one that next falls. TP from Wordles is very late. And not being able to be a part of the fight really might just get under towered at this point. No, he turns it around. Ara goes down under tower.
And still a favorable trade here for Northview. They do pick up, I believe, 4 kills in all that exchange. No, just only 3. Only 3, so it's pretty even, all things considered, but they do start things off quite well. Like we were saying before, the vision setup from Pearl Simp to begin the fight was the difference maker to start things off. Even though the teleport from Mahyan was really solid, they did still get that double kill into their scaling jungler, which is a pretty big deal.
And as you see, the picture dragon started up there, but we see the finishing TP from Wordles and the turnaround. Being able to get that kill back is so huge, man.
Oh yes. The kill onto the Scion just barrels him forward and tries to keep him afloat in this matchup. Really struggling in the CS department. As you can see, Mahyan has this wave pushing against him, so will be able to set up this freeze, will be able to deny a good chunk of these minions, and because of this, Wordles is just trying to do anything else right now. Maybe go take a jungle camp, maybe just like do anything but sit in, wallow in his misery, not getting any of these minions.
Yeah, I would say we'll just get a bit of a lull period while junglers farm out the rest of their jungles. We do have Rift Herald on the table, which I would like to see some proactivity around, but it's also a place of confidence, right? The fact that you do have a very strong top side of the map for Northview feels really good, and you can respond to anything that happens, especially around these objectives.
Was actually taking quite a large risk by stepping this far forward against Mahyan. If RRR was waiting in the wings on that blast cone that you can see in the jungle on that quadrant on the blue side, that could have been disastrous for him because no ultimate, no flash.
Bot lane again. The charge completes, and there's the Force as well. Smart Little Pig finishing off with an ace in the hole.
Very nicely done. Only a Yuumi remains. Can you get to Ara? Or will the Xin Zhao fall regardless?
There's the healing final chapter stolen by Pearl Simp, but not going to be able to connect the root. Now Picdar's in some trouble here, getting his health bar tanked out. Ara gets the kill turned around, but they pick up a quick double for Longhorns.
Yoko doesn't make it in time, even with those boots. Renekton is a little too quick, as it turns out. Vizela now.
Oh my goodness, he's just going to go for the fight. This is a little bit rough. Purple Crab, having utilized the combo, decides to back away. Oh no! No, Pearl Simp won't die. Maybe the Deadly Flourish is too early.
That's a bummer. Pearl Simp surviving with that extra stopwatch. Fate Sealed mid.
There we go. Kyoko getting low, though. Has to flash the turnaround. Kyoko dies. Oh, my God. How does that even happen? The mastery flashed, and the Longhorns are on top.
And the gasping Teemo emote as well. Even Purple Crab is surprised at how well that ended up turning out. Longhorns getting so many kills on multiple plays around the map.
Wordles is in some trouble up here.
Yeah. Wordles is not the carry of this game. Everybody else is having a great time.
Yet the dude is still 1-0. Like,
that's true.
Not too bad.
Oh boy.
I might get caught out here. RRR coming up here to put some pressure on. They want to try to take this tower towards the top side. Maybe even look towards the Rift Herald.
Rift Herald would make a lot of sense. Breaking
They're
out
going back bot lane. Oh no. Okay.
Oh my
just
God.
Going for the Krugs. I was like, if these once, I mean, the gank is there. The gank is viable. At least it was until they got their back completed.
I think it's still gonna happen. So I'm pretty sure Getter just camps out this rush. Definitely a consideration being made. It gives over a lot of time for this Rift Herald, which again is a really nice play for Mahyan to break apart that top lane turret if that's where they want to go with it.
A little bit of extra gold infused into Mahyan would be very nice for those later game fights. Already on the Riftmaker now. They want to get mid lane though. Kyoko to back away. No fate sealed, and there's the ulti pulled across the wall. Pearl Simp gets the kill. Nicely
done. Really solid roam. They were impatient. They didn't want to go bot lane again. They were taking way too long in the base to shop and like, well, we still have our ultimates. Why don't we just go mid instead?
I just want to use them.
I got this button that I just want to press. Can we press it on somebody? Thank you.
And hey, they get something with it. Oh, UV. He used to get healed by his Yumi. And there you go, get a little bit of health back. As that trade was not going his way with Smart Little Pig.
No. Yumi is quickly going to run out of mana with the Jhin this low. As you're going to find out, half mana already, thanks to the crazy mana cost.
Oh, Ara does miss out from the abduct. Realizes Purple Crab is also here. They're also calling down Kyoko. There's going to be a lot of bodies down this way. It looks like Pikadar wants to just go back towards this top side of the map, though.
Might lose out on some pressure on the Drake right now. You already saw the Longhorns were able to pick up that first one, but moving over to these Raptors means that they might not get the second on spawn, delaying their soul completion by just a little bit. And, you know, just because it's preseason, we got to bring this up. The new Drakes haven't spawned quite yet. So there is a 50-50 chance that you get one of the really broken new preseason souls. That's a pretty big deal.
RRR just walked from his red side straight to top to use this Rift Herald. Did not stop. Passed go, collected 200, is now trying to kill Wordles. The red, or the burn at least, is going to do some work, but can't get the tanky Scion. They do get first turret.
I really like that play from Ara. You're never going to kill Scion here, but by chunking him out, it makes sure that Wordles can't stick around, and you do guarantee another Herald charge, and likely the full tower with it. Yeah, really smart play.
Dragon does go down. Second dragon of the game for the Longhorns will be a Mountain Soul, so no new dragons for our first game.
That's a slight bummer, but you know, it's 50-50. It's sometimes you take those risks, and Mountain Soul is definitely completely fine. You've got a pretty strong front line that could use that one. A lot of melee champions, so definitely still worth it to pick up those first two Drakes. You just have to make sure that you don't get run over by this super fed Mordekaiser now with two turrets worth of gold in his pocket.
I will say the Renekton at 3-0 is a good stopping force to that, though, especially in team fights. So I'm very much looking at Purple Crab to be the answer for the Longhorns into that kind of team fight style.
Scaling Renekton, maybe not the most picturesque late game champion, but like you said, he does have a good enough lead to where you can at least expect him to do a lot of work in that mid game. And you do still have Ruthless Predator. You're not going to miss out on that stun in the late game. You still have a really strong health bar as that front line for you to set up for more front line mostly, because it's mostly just
and the shield break. I think as well against the Mordekaiser. That's going to be huge.
A lot of front line on this team for Longhorns. Maybe Smart Little Pig can start scaling up, but so far a bit behind UB despite those kills in that lane. likely will be bounced right back up if they can crack apart this mid lane turret, which is pretty close to happening.
Yeah, so we do see the lane swaps being initiated here, and Barber bot lanes in the mid lane for both these teams, trying to gather up as much farm as possible until the next big fight happens. Which no objective on the board for a little while, so it'll be some shenanigans if there wants to be some. And it looks like top lane might be that answer, at least for the Longhorns, as Machyan is still pushed up pretty far. Pearl Simp's actually looking at mid lane here, looking to see catch out. Oh no, that's maybe not the connection you wanted. You're like, oh okay, yeah, next time maybe not that one.
So Pikater was trying to find an angle on this topside gank. He is a Mordekaiser, which is really tricky, but may have found it now.
Does have a decent amount of damage with the Divine Thunder pop. There's the Death Realm, and a big turn around, tries to get to the other side. He's dead. Killing spree for Machyan, but it's going to be a shutdown for a lovely member of the Longhorns. Unless he can get one more, Pearlsim gets away. Shut down a smart little pig.
That was very, very close to being a 2-for-1 trade for Machyan, but can't quite happen. Pearlsim too slippery on Silas to escape this one. Ends up giving up quite a big shutdown. That's a big, big amount of gold on this Mordekaiser, who is building full armor, by the way. So you mentioned before that it might end up being Purple Crab that deals with this. Honestly, if they give more gold into the Silas, perhaps
it might have to be. All the attempts, literally 4 members of the Longhorns to deal with Machyan, the solo Mordekaiser.
I like the attempt there from Piketter to get out of reach there with the Hecarim ultimate, but didn't quite land the fear because he went the full distance and Machyan was able to just stay exactly put. He didn't end up getting feared by it. So a slight error there. Might have still gotten him killed because of course he was locked into the Death Realm regardless, but something to think about for next time if he does get locked in. If he doesn't want to go for a QSS, that's something he has to consider.
All eyes on mid lane right now. The Longhorns trying to make a play onto UB. The Deadly Flourish connects on a smart little pig who has to be careful because RRR is coming from the top side. Pearl Simp is under tower now. They just want to get this outer tower and try to get out, but RRR on the flank with Machyan. Crescent Guard into the fight. They try to go for Machyan, but there you go. It's already turning. Death Realm pop, Pearl Simp next to die, pops the Death Realm back, but who's going to win that one? Purple Crab on the backside for UB. There is Machyan on your side, though. You got to be careful. Final Capture's going to stun them under tower, and Wordles has to walk away. Machyan is going to get Piltover Peacemaker to a killing spree for Smart Little Pig. Ace in the hole goes through, but onto Yumi. Wordles trying to be the tank, trying to be the front line for Smart Little Pig. But Smart Little Pig gets flashed on, dies to Kyoko, and the shutdown's going over. It's about to be an ace for Northview, but a flash comes away for Wordles and gets him out. No, it doesn't. The Deadly Flourish from distance. Derpy Legend wants to get the kill. They want it so bad, and can they get it? Wordle's still at about 300, 400 health there, and he's still just walking away slowly but surely. Eventually, the ace will come through, and Kyoko gets the kill.
I love all the little Yumi auto attacks thrown out at every possible opportunity just to try to continue whittling Wordles down at the end. You get to watch the beginning of this play. It was a solid turret dive setup, but it ended up being a pivot over instead to this turret thanks to UB's really solid positioning. Winning with the curtain call as well continues that positioning for UB. Really safe underneath the second tier turret despite giving over that one. And after Purple Crab flashes in, there's even the use of the Gale Force as well. I just really have to commend the kiting there from this player.
It was very, very good. Very split fight though, and ends up actually working out in Northview's favor, especially when things come to push and shove, right? And you see in the picture, it didn't dissuade the Longhorns. They're still pressing up. They're still being aggressive even after all this.
Really good movement.
That aggression might bite them, though. Pearl Simp is just going to die here. Kingslayer gets a lot of health back, but is it enough? UB cleans up the kill for a killing spree.
Wild play from this Jhin. I continue to be impressed by this guy. Alongside the Yumi also, setting up for a Baron directly on spawn. He Getter actually doesn't have Smite for this, so it could end up being a pretty solid play. There's no Caitlyn in position. You have to worry about the other members, but this could just straight up be a Baron.
Wordles does have a pretty healthy tank health bar, and Smart Little Pig's just taking side turrets. You see the fight continue though, and fate sealed onto 2 members. The team fight's just too much, the tankiness not enough, and the health bars are just non-existent from the Longhorns. It's Pekadar trying to get away from the Death Realm, tries to get back, Wordles dies, he will come back. Zombie Scion is not enough to change the day. And meanwhile, Smart Little Pig the whole time pushing, but it's gonna be a Baron for Northview.
Yeah, they're turning right back onto the Baron. And they actually
does Smart Little Pig just end the game here?
I would be surprised if he ended the game. Definitely an inhibitor is in his crosshairs though. That's super minions in the bottom lane. The more and more time that Northview takes to play the Baron Nashor, I'm less and less convinced this is good.
Okay, finally gonna back off. Baron finally dies. It's about a half health on the Nexus Tower, but it will be an inhib unlocked in bot lane. And Longhorns, they might lose the fight, but they win the objectives.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that was good. They get a whole bunch of kills, which is definitely solid. They get a lot of gold from the Baron itself. They just have to make sure that they can actually match all the structure destruction that Smart Little Pig just dealt to them in their own base. The inhibitor turret, outer turret as well.
Picked up so much gold too.
Yeah,
for the Caitlyn.
that's a very fed Caitlyn. Ooh, I like the consideration that Smart Little Pig is making. Yeah, switching over to the QSS, very, very intelligent. You do not want to get stopped in the Death Realm.
It's a good call. Good eye. I saw the Dominic's pop first, and I was like, okay. You
Wait
realize the situation. But you do have about 2 minutes till the next dragon. It is Soul for the Longhorns, but it's also not a dragon that they have to fight.
They have the pressure in the base right now, though. Will it be there in 2 minutes? Who knows? But for now, they can actually start to get things done on the other side of the map. They're looking first toward mid lane, making quick work of the Baron minions. Even though Mahyan has the teleport available, this could just be a flat-out turret.
Ara looking for it. Final chapter goes out. Pearl Sim dies to Yubi from the curtain call. TP on the back here from Mahyan, and they get the angle. Pekadar is the only one that might make it out. Ignite kills Smart Little Pig. Purple Crab trying to dash out, but still in the Death Realm, and will be that, just dead. Mid lane push coming through with the Baron minions alive as well. Could be a big amount of turrets about to fall in favor of Northview.
Longhorns really underestimating the engage power that this squad has. Just off the back of that Yuumi ultimate, they were able to lock down multiple members and keep that fight continuing with the teleport from Mahyan. Now it just might be an entire inhibitor in this mid lane. Less Wardles and gang can say anything about it.
They want to try to get the engager, just clearing up the minions here. Inhib tower will stay strong. Back coming through, not going to be stopped just yet. Okay, it was close, but backs will be completed for Northview as they get their resets off.
All right, Longhorns. This is your time now. You mentioned before, Mazel, that they don't need to take this Drake. I think after the last few plays, they kind of do. They're kind of on their last leg. They're losing a whole lot around the Rift. And Baron's about to expire as well, so they won't have to worry about those for this fight. Start off the pick.
Oh, they're on Mahyan. They get him. Ooh. Shutdown goes to Smart Little Pig, and afterwards, RRR is in the middle of everything. Derpy Legend goes down. A double kill for the ADC of the Longhorns. They're still fighting. RRR hits a pressing guard, but is not enough. Yubi gets a kill onto Pearl Sip. He's still alive. Somehow, some way. Kyoko comes in. Curtain Call comes away. And after all of that, the damage is starting to get turned back on the Longhorns. They could try and take this one. Pekadar, nice deadly flourish. Kyoko is going ham right now. He's getting kills back and right. Yubi is going to shut down Smart Little Pig as well. Can it get it? The ace comes through, and Northview rises to the top.
Yubi is so clutch, Lennon. This is insanity. The positioning on this marksman player, so top-notch. The entire team fight starts off with 2 picks back-to-back. One on Mordekaiser, one on Yubi. We get to see Ara surviving everything with all of the sustain, all of the tankiness, and then a really solid pressing guard right there also. And then all the while,
that's so
Yubi's
ridiculous.
just picking them off one by one, man. Insane.
And that paid seal literally did just that, right? Like, it literally fielded it. Like, to turn that around, Smart Little Pig tries, but yeah, there's no turn.
Oh my. And then that last Q as well with the knockup. They literally just won a 2v4 right now, Giselle. That is insanity. And then look at this positioning as well.
Yep.
In the brush, playing outside of the range of the Caitlyn, outside of the range of the Scion as well. Whew. 9 kills on Jhin. This is quite the performance in game 1.
Racking them up. I'm going to need a couple Jhin bands coming out from the Longhorns if this continues on, but Yubi looking mighty fine from that bottom lane position. Still the game to be closed out here. Northview did get their first dragon, but does not mean that they are safe as Longhorns still on soul point. Pikadar might be in some trouble if he goes for that engage, but looks like the Longhorns are just looking to pick a fight at this point in front of this Baron fit.
Might need to. They might need to try to start a fight off on another pick. This time, hopefully not on the Mahyan, because they just proved that Mahyan is not the biggest threat in these team fights. Yes, he does have the Death Realm, and he could be impossible to kill, but the damage is certainly coming from Yubi. You have to kill that player instead, and they're trying. Oh, not quite.
Charge went off on the minions, trying to get that distance closed, but meanwhile, the side lane's getting pushed in heavily against the Longhorns as Mahyan gets another tower kill.
It's always just a permanent threat that Northview have over the Longhorns because nobody can match Mahyan at all. So much sustain here with the Riftmaker and then all this armor coming through Zhonya's with plated steel caps and the Bramble Vest. It has extra movement in Cosmic Drives.
Ball comes out to initiate some damage. Kyoko on the flank there beautifully catches out Smart Little Pig. Is it enough? Final chapter across. Smart Little Pig dies to Kyoko, and the engage is nicely done. Ara in the middle of everyone. The Gore Drinker's enough. Now the front to back, though, is not. Yubi needs to get away, has the 4th shot, can go in, gets Purple Crab with Gale Force, wants to get the kill onto Pikadar, does so. Wordles, again, the only one left here, and needs to try to run away, Smacks. This is so disheartening, and Yubi wants to chase him down. He's still an ADC, needs to be careful.
Yeah, Yubi does not have a lot of tank shred against the Scion, so not a very easy one-on-one to take. I believe he has a Lord Dominic's Regard, so he has the positioning down. It could still be a one fight, but I'm not confident in this.
He's still an ADC!
Run!
He's still an ADC! That's the thing you can't get away from. It's the painful truth, Smacks. You can't go up against anyone solo, it feels like, in this day and age.
You might be right about that one, Mazel. You gotta rely on the 2v4 skills, as it turns out.
Yes.
Get to watch the beginning of this play. Kyoko in just the craziest position I've ever seen. Ready for this flank. And it does really get things started off quite well for North. Very impressive.
The fact that they get onto the back line as well. RRR trying to survive as long as he can so that the front to back can work out for Yubi. But now it is getting a little bit more difficult, right? The bodies are getting a little bit more beefy, so that initial engage didn't go quite the way they wanted to. This is a little bit of yakety sax in the end there. Eventually ending up in Yubi giving over a huge shutdown to Wordles.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of money over to Wordles, making his way toward a Randuin zone.
Wow, there's
quite beneficial. Baron. On Vision.
And Pikadar is just
you gotta go over there,
well,
man.
he's just, I mean, 50 seconds till Dragon spawns. There's no way you're going to make it there in time. They're just going to give up this Baron.
Wow. All right. Pearl Simp. Nope. No way,
wow.
No way for the support.
What an interesting call.
This is really tough. I'm really surprised by this. There's really not a whole lot that they could have done on the other side of the map, but now they have potentially a foothold around the Drake, which would give them.
They got the engage here. Pinkadar is going to have to get something going. That fade sealed was huge. He's into the background. Look at the health bars, though, of the Longhorns. They're staying pretty healthy. They haven't lost a member. Okay, Mahyan finally shuts them down, and now the front to back ensues, and Yubi is in perfect position. Mahyan in the back line does die, but can it be enough for Yubi to turn it all around? Ace in the hole comes through, and now it's just Yubi and Yumi. They go for the shot comes through, a little pick dies, and the ace is coming through here. Yubi and Yumi are gonna do it. That's it. That's the kills, and Northview take place.
Yubi is just so good in the team fights, Mazel. He's done it 3 times now, outnumbered in the 5v5. By the end of it, we're seeing the Longhorns. They know how to start a fight. They know how to rip through the front line of Mahyan and Kyoko. They know what needs to be done at that point, but they use everything on those members, and Yubi is just left to play on the outskirts. And this time, Wordles gets taken out by all of the damage beforehand. He's not a 1v1 tank on Marksman anymore. Yubi is able to kite things out, use the Gale Force as well, right in with the 4th shot to take out the enemy Marksman. And from here on, he has so much movement speed and healing from the Yumi. Holy moly, Mazel.
This is what I like to see. Some great Jin gameplay here. 12-3 and 10.
Oh, yeah.
Yubi is making them hurt right now. And Smart Little Pig trying to do some work as well, but they've got to be able to pull the trigger on Yubi. That unstoppable onslaught, unstoppable force there. No, she's onslaught of shadows. 3rd time.
There it is.
Onto Yubi, I feel like would have been a better call. And being able to try and get that backline is where I'm focusing for the Longhorns, because they need to get Yubi.
I don't blame you for that one, because there are 2 onslaughts on the Longhorns team for Ultimate, so makes sense.
It would be better if we had a Malphite in here. Then we'd have Unstoppable Force, Unstoppable Onslaught, and Onslaught of Shadows. It'd be great.
Perfect. Just put everything all in one basket and let it rip. We're getting Mahyan out of position right now. You gotta run.
They're trying to come up here as well. No Ghost pop just yet. No Predator pop. I was thinking maybe they try to go for it here, and they do finally pull the trigger on Wordle's ulti. They're going to save the tools here. Try to buy some time as Wordles gets Death Realm. Does not make it out, or actually makes it out alive, rather. Mahyan maybe not so much here. Wordles needs to get away. Just pop the shield. He's got teammates coming. Pearl Sip about to get the 1v1 on Yubi. Ace in the hole. No, it's not enough. The save comes through from RRR, and the Prowling Projectile gets the kill. Huge pickup, and now it is the Longhorns who are on the back foot, even though they had gotten Mahyan.
Yubi keeps Flash all the while. They don't quite get the big cooldown out of this Jin. The heal was already down before. They don't quite get all of that. They only get to punish Mahyan's positioning. Maybe Kyoko's as well, but Kyoko is scaled up.
He is. He's not taking much damage. Kyoko has the rest of the team coming at him, though, and that's going to be Purple Crab picking up the kill.
Eventually, it's enough. As long as Longhorns keep finding these outnumbered pick opportunities in the skirmish rather than these team fights, Yubi can't really be a part of it, because Yubi is not going to be on the sideline. You've got Mordekaiser, you've got Yone. That's their job. So if you're fighting around these side lanes, it does take a little bit longer for this Jin to arrive. I like that they're pivoting over to this plan. It can't work forever, but if they do keep this up for at least a bit longer, it might give them the leeway they need to take the Drake Soul.
Mahyan might get caught out here, but they don't really have the bodies to deal with this. Although Smart Little Pig putting in some work now, having completed the crit items as well as the DOMs. Gonna be a nice turnaround there, but have to watch these front backs. The ADCs so pivotal to the win conditions for both these teams.
Let's take stock on who has QSS in this game. It's only Smart Little Pig on one side, and then on the other, it's really only Kyoko, actually. So for Death Realm, there's only one way on either team to get out of it. That means, because both teams have access to Death Realm. as a reminder, Pearl Simp does have that one with the hijack. You can put Jin in the Death Realm and delay that damage just a little bit. But no QSS for Yubi, so you will be locked in for all those 7 seconds unless you can kill the Silas.
All right, Picadar coming down this way. Has to bolt here because the dragon up just... Oh, curtain call. Misexecution there from Yubi the first time we see it. And now Pearl Simp uses the Death Drum onto him. The fight's continuing in the front side, though. RRR has pushed off Smart Little Pig. And now they're working him. Northview is pulling apart the fight here. Pearl Simp dies. Yubi is still alive. And Kyoko's helping clean them all up. Wordles dies. That's the ace. That's got to be the end. The TP's coming in. And Northview has struck first.
Wordles was trying to get at least some chip damage into Mahyan, but it's too little, too late. 5-for-0 ace. You tried to stick Yubi into the Death Realm, but you forgot to deal with everybody else. One for Northview. They take out the superstar top laner, and they show us what an 80 carry pop-off performance really is all about.
And that's that teamwork. That's that communication we said could be the difference maker in this. Doesn't matter if you have one individual player who is stronger, who is above everybody else. It matters about the team game, and they come out swinging in that fashion, and especially being able to consistently pull off those front-to-back fights, making sure that Yubi was set up on the Jin. It's all beautiful.
Jin's not even a marksman champion that I think of when I think of team fight 80 carries either. I can't imagine what that would look like on like Jinx or anything ridiculous like that for this player. Jin isn't even really that mobile either, so like
it is with the Yuumi.
Absurd. Yeah, that's definitely true.
That's the real difference maker here. Yuumi coming through, but what a heck of a game number one for this best of 3 Smacks. We still got another game coming though, so we'll be right back, take a little break, but game 2 coming up shortly. Welcome back, everyone, to the Play versus Georgia finals. I'm Mazel, joined by Smacks, and we have had ourselves a heck of a game number one in this best of three series. What do you think about that one?
The first game was so sick, Mazel. I was super impressed by one player in specific, and if you watched the last game, you already know who it is, but it is Be My UB. This guy had insane positioning in the team fights. He was outputting so much damage, and the aggressive precision of the Gale Forest inward as well was also just such a treat to watch. I really enjoyed every single team fight that he got to pop off in, and now for Longhorns, they probably didn't appreciate it nearly as much as we did watching it. They probably want to attack this guy at least a bit.
We're not switching sides. We're not switching sides.
No, we're not.
All right. So, going into game 2 of best of 3, Northview staying on the blue side, Longhorns staying on the red side. They feel confident. They want to bring it back. They want to run it back potentially. It is the Urgot, the Nocturne this time banned away by Northview. It is the Camille, Zinzao, and the Vayne by the Longhorns. First pick of the Graves by Northview.
Still a removal of that Vayne. So they are at least banning one of the champions from Be My UB, but not removing Yumi. Which is pretty funny. Not removing Jin either. Now, Jin was picked a bit later, if I remember correctly.
It was.
So maybe they still have an opportunity to ban that one in the phase 2. But regardless, yeah, no more bans in phase 1 sent to that position, even though it looked really solid. Trundle is the lock-in in likely the jungle. We've seen it a bit from support as well with a new Glacial Augment. But we're not entirely certain yet. It is a flex pick. Caitlyn is not, though. That's going to be making a return.
Will be being played for the second game in a row here. Had some good performances last game around, and this might be a really nice pickup for the style that we saw from Northview last game. You were talking about it. We were talking about front to back. Well, what would it look like if a Jinx is in the play? It will be so this time around, as Northview do pick that one up with the Syndra attached.
Really exciting draft. I like this quite a bit. Like I mentioned before, and like you just alluded to, I was really excited by the team fighting on the Jin from Be My UB, and Jin's not even really a team fighting champion, so moving over to a marksman that really does fit that position a bit better, I think makes a lot of sense. This player has really been on a tear today, so why not buy into that some more? And then I also really like the Syndra. It's a great pair up with the Scraves. It provides Scraves a lot of early game pressure and magic damage burst, which is otherwise absent in this draft so far.
Very true. The Vigar was the response for the Longhorns. As we do get into the second phase of bans, the Longhorns ban away the Yumi and the Lulu. So the Enchantress support's coming off the table. Mordekaiser and Darius banned away by Northview.
Still attacking top lane. They want to make sure that Wordles isn't on some ridiculous champion up in that lane. With Karma selected, this might be crazy, but I'm feeling like this is still a flex pick. Because Thimblewinter does exist now. It's a tier item, stacks HP, works ridiculously well with Karma if you are picking her in a position where she does get a lot of resources. So this could very well be a top lane Karma and, still moving around the pieces. I feel like it probably does work pretty well into Set, but we'll see if Wordles agrees with me, as Set was the blind pick lock-in for top lane.
And they also get the Nami to go with the Jinx pickup, which interesting in its own right to see that duo kind of come through. Very excited for the initiation potential there. But last pick, again, counter pick for the Longhorns, something that they can use to really change the volatility of the matchups across the board. And it will be the Tom Kench Catfish Man coming out for game number 2 to bring the Longhorns into the series.
Yeah, so none of those crazy flex picks actually happening. It is Tom Kench in that top lane. We know that Wordles does like to play that one quite a bit. So likely will just be that Karma support Trundle in the jungle as a response to Graves. And it's a double Enchanter lane here. Karma versus Nami. And a lot of range to boot as well. Likely will see some pretty extenuous trades in that lane. And whoever does get that early push in will likely have a pretty big advantage. Which means that these junglers likely are going to want to start their path in a position where they don't need a leash from the bot lane.
That's where I want to see those first ganks again, what we see the early proactivity from both these junglers, because they were getting active early last game, and especially Pikadar getting those bot lane ganks constantly against Northview, where in the end it didn't really matter, right? And I want to see if they tool that to another area of focus for themselves, or if they continue to try to barrel down this bot lane, because when you look at it, the clear play is to go towards this bot lane to try to get something in advantage for the Caitlyn Karma against the Nami Jinx that can scale into craziness later on.
The Jinx scaling is pretty ridiculous. That's really only going to be matched by Veigar in this game. Veigar will have infinite ability power, but it's not the DPS champion that you would think the Jinx is in this one. So for Veigar, it's going to be more around burst. And, you know, for Northview, it doesn't really feel like there's any champion that can withstand a Veigar set of burst. So with a lot of crowd control, the Trundle Pillar, things like the Tahm Kench Abyssal Dive, these things will set up quite well for the zone threat that Longhorns have, because it's not only Veigar in that regard. Caitlyn does a phenomenal job of that as well. So the single target damage, really abundant for Longhorns. They need to find those targets. They need to break apart the front to back style that Northview are showing us. And while that sometimes is difficult to get through to this Jinx, there really is only one frontline member, and that's the set from the top. So that is that plan of attack, it feels like, for me.
It definitely does, and I think being able to navigate that is so interesting, because you do have the likes of the Trundle Pillar to uproot in the middle of the backline, the Tahm Kench Abyssal Dive, right, to get into that backline, not giving the freeness of a front to back to UV like they did last time around. So I like this adaptation from the Longhorns, and especially getting to see Wordle on the Tahm Kench. It's honestly terrifying that this is the matchup going into it, and I'm very worried and you know, looking out for this top lane and see how volatile it becomes comparatively to the first game we saw.
Top lane, it's still two beef boys, you know, still fighting away at each other. The only difference is that there's no weapons this time. It's just fists and tongues. So
oh yeah, yep, we're gonna go with that one. And it works out. But the other thing, right, is this mid lane matchup. We saw so many fireworks across the board, but mid lane did have some scuffling going on, but it wasn't the giant center of focus, right? But this time around, I feel like we're going to get the same kind of style. We're looking for the Veigar to scale up into the game. We're looking for the Syndra to scale up into the game. How they influence the game will have big impacts, but I'm looking forward to them just kind of sticking out at mid lane.
I think mid lane is very, very important in this one. Syndra is certainly very capable of completely exploding that early game with zone threat from the Dark Sphere, and with some jungle pressure as well. You can really turn that into a complete game takeover. So I'm hoping that we get to see that from Kyoko, because Syndra, she does just pair super well with that Graves. Like I mentioned before, you can make a lot of plays happen. You can pave the way for a Graves to start taking over from jungle. You can go for a lot of invades if you have that mid lane pressure. You can go for a lot of those early game Rift Heralds and Drakes as well. This Graves can be snowballed through a mid lane matchup like this, and Veigar just doesn't really have a lot of those tools to keep Syndra in check. So it does open up a lot of those opportunities.
It definitely does, and I do want to see the difference between what we saw in game number one, you know, on the Yone in the mid lane, piling that like crazy, changing it up a little bit, going with the Syndra, but still being able to pack a punch like you did in game number one, especially. But I again have to fall back to the fact we got to see the storylines for both these teams play out at least so well in one fashion, in terms of Northview having the cohesion as a 5-man squad, being able to put it together, have the strategies play out, and execute those strategies well against a team who, as we said, has this dominant Goliath top laner that you were able to shut down. That is a dub, and being able to carry that into game number two, I believe in momentum, Smacks.
I like momentum. Momentum is really important in these best of series. You got a lot of morale coming out of that first game. It lets you think more clearly, lets you think with less risk as well, or risk aversion, I should say, because like we said at the top of the show, this is just the best of three. If you lose that first game, you no longer can afford to lose any other game. So for Longhorns, they are going to be thinking about that one. No matter what in these games, now they are on their last leg. If they do make a big mistake in this game, it's going to be more difficult for them to come back from that one because they're going to be
Absolutely.
thinking, oh, this very well could just be it. We might just be over in this finals. So yeah, by giving themselves that 1-game cushion here for Northview, they are in that match point. They do have more to work with moving into game 2 for sure.
They do, and you definitely, I might be speaking for myself here, I don't know, but you definitely don't want to go out in a 2-0 fashion in a grand final after this entire season, right? Like, that's just not the way you want to go. So I'm very much looking forward for the punch back for this team who has made it this far, right? It's no easy task to make it to the grand finals and be able to make it here. They definitely have a showing in them. They just need to pull it out.
Yeah. This is do or die here. You went through the entire 32-team bracket in the Georgia playoffs to make it to this point in the winter split, or I guess this is the fall split. So whatever season it is, I don't know. It's December. They probably started playing earlier than this, but it's holiday season now. You get your Santa hats on.
Yeah. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Oh yeah.
But again, right, like, I love the emphasis on that because it is a huge undertaking, and it's not a small feat to be able to have a team going with coaches, subs, 5 players playing constantly, like having it all come down to a best of 3 in the end of the season. Like, it's scary. I'm scared for these players, right? And it's all about showing up in the moment. That's what truly makes great moments, great memories, things that'll go down in history, right, in these players' minds are moments like this, being able to perform on the stage in a grand finals. Because they are on stage, by the way. It's like,
that's actually,
it's legitimate, which is amazing.
The players are actually playing on a stage in Georgia right now. And I guess that might mean that our faces are there on the stage as well. Hi. I'm personally in Michigan. Mazel personally is in California. But you know what? We're right there with all the players in Georgia.
In spirit, we're there.
Spirit. Absolutely. and on the in your headphones as well.
All right, Smacks, we are here. This is a potential final game of the Georgia finals. The Longhorns, backs up against the wall, need to take a win here to bring us to 3 games. Northview want to make it a quick and easy dub.
They did not make it fully quick in the first game, but they did make it dominant once they got that definitive lead. The early stages of that last game were quite close. And that does give me a lot of hope for Longhorns in this series. They had a lot of fight in them in the landing phase to get through and find some early advantages. You have to remember, they did take the first 3 Drakes in that last game. So they, realistically, if they make that a 4 instead of a 3, it's a pretty big deal. They could actually just take over this game and bring all that momentum that you just mentioned over to their side.
That's what you're looking for. You got to find a way to flip the cap, flip something in this series, and get yourself back into the good graces, as it does look like it will be same side starts yet again for both junglers, pathing down towards this bot side of the map.
Yeah, I really like this. You do want to have your jungler starting on the opposite side, or at least starting without a leash, so that your double-ranged bottom lane can get the early advantages down. Oh, so they did spot the ward. All right. Good information for Pearl Simp and Smart Little Pig to know that the enemy bottom lane is also here. It does help them scout out for what's going on with this Graves clear for Aura.
And we see lanes coming to bear here. Aggression is the name of the game here, especially for both these teams who are just trying to find a way into this best of 3, either a win for Northview or a prolonged series for the Longhorns. But again, it seems like we're getting the same story we saw in game number 1. Early aggression on the bot side for the Longhorns, but I'm sure it'll be turned around quickly by Northview.
The healing is definitely in favor of Nami in a matchup like this. Shielding is quite nice. It is a form of sustain, but it's after that poke comes in and after all the damage is said and done, it's where an ebb and flow from Nami can matter all that much more. Because like right there, Pearl Simp did still get hit by the ebb and flow. There's no healing spell for Karma outside of a Mantra Bind. So, and that's purely selfish as well. You can't cast that onto your ally.
Keep our eyes out. Spotlight set on the bot lane. How much influence from the rest of the map will we see? Meanwhile, Kyoko gets a nice trade on the Purple Crab in the mid lane as well. As he said, the domination trying to be there for Kyoko does get traded back pretty heavily, as junglers are starting to finish up their first pathings across the board here. At least Pikadar is going to be first out onto the map as he finishes the grind.
We'll meet a Scuttle Crab most likely. Recently lowered in value, the first Scuttle Crab. So potentially PKetter is going to need to go help out mid lane instead. But no, will still be that Scuttle Crab started right up with that pillar of ice. And Purple Crab is just left to the wayside like, meh, am I not more important than a crab? Come on, please help.
I do like this ward movement from Kyoko, though, just to try and get some vision, some information down for our Aura, which will be very, very integral to fighting this Trundle for PKDR, who will just get the back off, actually, and get a reset early. We saw this last time, too. Got the reset off before RRR and got back onto the map.
Still just so much damage onto Purple Crab. And because of this, you can see that Ara has his confidence to go over to the other side of the map, crossing over, taking this Scuttle Crab instead. Has a lot of vision cleared out. Like you said, there was that one on the Raptor Pit, but also the one in this top side right here, placed by Mahyan. Just really helping out this clearing jungler.
Oh, Kyoko is in some trouble here. Has to burn the flash. The root is there. Pearl Sim connects it, does some damage back. That's going to be a return game coming for Kyoko at some point.
That's a good chunk. And Pearl Simp, at least, is helping out this mid lane. If PKetter won't come, and the support will. Got your back there, Purple Crab. Fear not. You can take that recall. You can get that Tear of the Goddess. Go right back to farm. Get up, King.
TP going to be utilized by Purple Crab to get back into the lane. Keep the pressure up on Kyoko, who has not been able to back just yet. First dragon coming up on the board will be a Hextech dragon, so no Hextech soul, but at least a little bit of health damage if they, or at least healthy damage if they are healthier than you, I guess. Well, that's a way to say it. But I want to see how much priority both these teams put on this first dragon, right? Because I do feel like it's a pretty decent buff, even if it's a standalone dragon.
Mazel, you're a liar. That's a Chemtech dragon.
That's what I said.
You said Hextech.
No, I said Chemtech. Go rewind the stream. Bring it back. I said Chemtech. That's why I said the health percent, like if they're healthier damage.
I'll choose to believe you for now.
I'll choose. Thank you for allowing me this.
They're both pretty similar.
I mean, seriously though, how much more important, I want to get your analytical thoughts on this, is this dragon comparatively for a solo dragon?
Just for one of them, like if it's not the soul, I think it matters. Like it's a pretty similar amount. It's pretty similar to an Infernal Drake in terms of damage, I feel. If it's the soul though, that's where they start to really kick in.
That's the big kicker.
Then you get Scion passive, and that's pretty good.
This looks like PKetter is looking for some aggression here as the back finally comes in for RRR. Dragon started up by the Longhorns.
2 entire clears for this Graves alongside 1 Scuttle Crab. Be late on the clear, well, not the clear, but the recall, like you said, will come back onto the map right now. Gives over that time, take the Chemtech Drake, and again, it is the Longhorns who have the early advantage when it comes to those. You can see that Northview don't really mind too much about those going over to the wayside. It will still be fine in that mid game, is their plan anyway.
PKetter getting the gank here with the at least Trundle pillar there. Double TPs now coming in from the top side, and immediately everybody's backing off the fight. Mahyan misses the face breaker.
Close right there. Both teleports trying desperately to find slight edges in this mid lane or potentially that first blood, as neither team find any kills quite yet. Pretty low in this mid lane. We know just how volatile these players can be in this matchup, as we saw the Yone Renekton last game. They're going at it again.
They are, and Purple Crab dies to Kyoko in the 1v1.
Oh man, they both have the outplay buttons with their ultimate. It's just about who gets that one down first. And Kyoko is the one who lands it. Flash out for Purple Crab as well. You can't flash away from your destiny. Your destiny is to get hit by the Unleashed Power.
Your destiny. Oh, goodness. Especially with Vigar's background, I like that a lot, actually. But it still is going to need some saving in mid lane for the Longhorns as you see Pearl Sam getting back on the roam timers, just trying to have his face shown somewhere on the map and keep the pressure up. The top side, talking about pressure, Wordle's getting some treatment up here yet again. The Catfish gobbles him up, but the collateral damage going to be nicely done. Mukyan flashes away from the tower, takes one shot. Abyssal Dive is there. He showstoppers him into death. We're having fried Catfish tonight, Smack.
And unfortunate there for Wordles because there's no way to keep the turret still attacking the target that you've got gobbled up in your belly. So even though he was underneath that turret, pretty safe, not a lot of damage that they're providing in this one. It was necessary because he would have been hit by that showstopper, and Ara can't actually deal any damage underneath this turret because of how Graves' auto attacks work.
Yeah.
But, well, you know, just with a really solid outplay, it makes it look easy regardless of all of that one. Yeah.
The distance into the wall, like the damage goes through instantly because there's no distance for Showstopper to bring him. So instead of Wordles being able to like heal up a little bit during that time, it does not work out. Nicely played. And Wordles, again, the brunt of aggression towards the top side against Northview. Oh, UB, don't shake the bush! Oh, the bubble doesn't land either. Cleanse already burned, gets out alive somehow, some way. And that's some nice healing from Derpy Legend.
Pearlsent pulling out all the stops with the flash forward for the bind and the ignite. Not quite available.
Doesn't hit the Mega Death Rocket to clear the minions, so the tower's still going to get pretty chunked here by Smart Little Pig.
It's a nice effort, though, honestly. You trying to get just a little bit more gold out of your ultimate right there. Can't really kill anybody with it at this stage, so I like the attempt. But regardless, is a lot of turret damage that will come
my
through
gosh.
because
look at this, Max.
Getter.
Ara did the same thing he did last game. He just pings top, I'm coming. Walking all the way from bot lane, except this time he goes to the Rift Herald instead.
Wordles does not have flash. So
Kyoko's in some trouble here.
Ooh.
Gets the stun landed as well. Kyoko has to flash, but the pillar not available for Picadar means they can't catch Kyoko.
Moving right into the waiting arms of Ara as well. Can't go any further than that one. And they even realize, like, oh, wait, the jungler's over here. Probably means we can't get the kill. Also probably means we can't get the Rift Herald either. More damage.
Nice little chain here, though. Scatter weak power unleashed. Oh, Smacks, it's so heartbreaking. It is so heartbreaking.
The early game in the mid lane itself going the complete opposite way. In the last game, Purple Crab picking up 2 solo kills. Now it's Kyoko giving him a taste of that medicine right now. Syndra making it look super easy in the early game, of course, with Unleashed Power, but it's not as easy as he's making it out to be. You do need to whittle down your opponent really, really nicely. We see that Kyoko has done a phenomenal job at that one. Well deserving of this first mythic in this game with the Luden's Echo. Tempest, actually.
And now Ara trying to put in some work in the top side. Yubi gets stunned up by the rooted up. Will not go down yet again. Mega Death Rocket utilized. We've put a little bit of damage back. Power Unleashed is not back up yet. You don't got it, but he might still be able to take the kill. Has the speed on Purple Crab, having completed the boots. And Purple Crab has the flash. That's a 5-minute cooldown. Meanwhile, top side, that'll be first brick, first tower for Northview.
Ooh. Are we getting a deja vu? Will Wordles be able to stop the second crash? All right.
I believe.
Looks like that one can't claim another turret life. Wordles won't have to give over all of that gold over to Mukyan again, just like in the last game. But does still mean, with all the jungle pressure up top, Longhorns get 2 Drakes in a row once more.
The Infernal Soul coming across the rift. Instant priority increase for both these teams. And Northview definitely gonna want to kind of put some work into it. Try to get some dragons for themselves as we go further into the game. But still got a while till you got to think about that one. And we'll just return to a bit of a lull period.
Waiting around, thinking about what there is left on the rift to go and claim. All 5 turret platings already taken out by Mukyan and Ara in the top lane. Doesn't really seem like they want to move around their lane positions, though. Still waiting for those plates to fall, waiting for the team fights to truly commence before this set can really start to pop off. It's honestly a pretty tricky position for a set to be in if we're thinking about what this team fight's going to look like, because you're against 3 range champions, 2 of which have great zone control. So set might have some trouble actually getting in range. It's really all about where that showstopper lands and whether or not you can use Wordles to get to that backline.
Very true. All about access and trying to find that access. RRR down towards bot side here as they're pushing onto the tower. It's the perfect time to try to get something going, but a lot of chunk damage on Derpy Legend.
Legend has been getting hit pretty hard by this Karma in this lane. Pearl Simp doing a great job of stacking up the Spell Thief's Edge a lot sooner than Derpy Legend. Still no wards on this Nami quite yet out of the support position, so waiting for that one. Wow.
That's a nice
sick dodge.
The bubble also gotten out of, but lands into the trap, and the TP is coming down. Got Scatter of the Week plus the Tidal Wave coming down to Pearl Simp. Scatter of the Week not going to connect just yet, but Pearl Simp might die anyways. There's the power unleashed. And a killing spree for Kyoko.
Pearl Simp's a goner right there, Mazel. Meanwhile, top lane
is a goner as well. There's no way you're getting out of this one. Showstopper face breaker almost takes down Wordles, but dies anyways.
He's thinking.
Oh, wait, smart little
pig. On the other side. Ara's underneath the turrets.
Ara's coming to town.
It's coming down the chimney. Did not say it to Graves, but oh man, got that shotgun. Swinging it all around.
He's gonna shoot somebody's eye out with that one.
Real, man. And Pig, smart little pig. We get to watch a replay of this one. Oh wow. So smart little pig.
Oh, that was good.
Thought he was
so
safe.
Good. And he gets the back in there with the cheek. Oh my god. Just throw the mastery up. Why not?
Oh. So much style oozing out of this jungle player. Meanwhile, oh
nice
my god.
Turnaround. Makian gets the redemption play in the 1v2 that he just lost.
Sliding on in.
Crab might be in some trouble as well. Kyoko beautifully dodging out of all the CC, trying to get away from the damage. And Purple Crab runs straight into Makian, and the face breaker comes out. Kyoko goes on a rampage 4-0.
This is such a strong performance from the mid laner here for Northview. This Syndra coming up huge and has just so much gold in his pocket as well from all of these kills sitting on just the Ludens that he's had for quite some time. Yeah, look at that. You can go back and pick up a couple of components for that Shadow Flame, most likely from this position. Really like that item giving you all of the magic penetration on mages. There's some other options as well, but want to go for the burst damage. Going to give you the best bang for your buck. We'll see if he agrees with me, wants to go for the defense of the Zonias. Another valid option. All right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
Being the preliminary carry at this point, you need to be able to not die. And I think that's a good idea. Even though I do like the idea of going a little bit more aggressive with it, put a little pedal to the metal.
It's great against Karma, too. It increases in value the more that your opponents shield, so it's definitely a valuable pickup. If not the second item, then the third item I would expect it to come through. But regardless, yeah, the Zonies is respectable for sure.
And third Dragon's coming up in about 35 seconds. Northview definitely don't want to give over Soul Point to the Longhorns, but can if they need to. But I would expect for them to put up a defense here. As you see a lot of bodies this way, they're going to try to push up the vision a little bit and get set up to take their first Dragon of the game.
Gotta get the zone control in position with Event Horizon and all the Yordle snap traps, but
it's
too late.
Tidal Wave coming across here, but Makian is not into the fight yet. There he goes, Showstopper into the backline, face breaker as well, and they already killed Picadar. Now they AoE! Oh my god! It's just over. Doobie is on a rampage now. Can't find the kill on a Purple Crab. Wordles is nowhere to be found, and Northview have taken everything.
Fully denying the Drake Soul Wind condition from Longhorns. That is completely out the window. And they show why you have to get to these objective fights early if you are the team that has all this zone control. Because you're seeing the Event Horizon and the Yordle snap traps are very effective. They stall out for quite a while, but they're just not in a threatening spot to actually do a whole lot with this. They just get run out of their own jungle.
That damage is ridiculous. And Wordles was so close to getting involved in the fight, but just was unable to. Couldn't commit to it. And those are the kinds of executions. That's the team play we were looking for Northview to utilize against this Longhorns team.
Oh, it's getting to dire straits now for Longhorns, Mazel. They need to get that scaling online as soon as possible. But with an entire item down in the mid lane for Purple Crab, it just does not feel like that's going to happen soon. Kyoko is just so strong. And we mentioned the similarities between these two champions. Syndra versus Veigar, they both have this gigantic nuke of an ultimate they pop onto one target. But even though Purple Crabs has that execute damage and it has infinite scaling, it's so far behind. Kyoko's does way more damage at this stage.
And it's barreling towards the finish line at this point with this big of a lead this early on. You gotta find consecutive team fights to come away with if you're the Longhorns.
For Smart Little Pig and Pearl Simp, you can see they're still trying to gather some resources into themselves as well. Not any slouches on the scaling department for either of these champions either. So Pearl Simp, you want to get all these items as well, similar to the Veigar, because it does just provide your team with just an obscene amount of utility. Your ultimate cooldown gets so low that you can often use that Mantra Shield multiple times in a single team fight. Like 3 or 4 sometimes if it gets really long. So that's something that Pearl Simp will need to consider as well. The stall game is one that Longhorns need to show that they can excel at.
They're trying to do so now. Just keep the pressure off the towers. Keep bot lane in check with Wordles and make sure the rest of the team can't make any movements. You see side lane is Kyoko now on the top side against the Little Pig. Meanwhile, Muhyan is getting some teammates coming this way. They want to fry up Wordles yet again. He's this catfish. He's pretty mobile, pretty fluid. We'll be able to get away from that one as Pikdar and Purple Crab come down this way to try and get Mushian as he's just gobbled up. He's going to be put in the tower here, Smacks. He might be dead. RRR is there, but just has to watch as Mushian flashes over the wall, gets the flash of Wordles, but dies anyways.
You gotta be careful with where you actually spit that guy out, because if you do it behind you, then
the flash from Pikdar trying to turn this around. Pikdar gets the Trundle Pillar into Crab coming. Is he gonna be able to get a Yubi? You have no exit. Pikdar gets the kill.
Just evenly trade, or not evenly traded at all. Just one-sided picks all around the map. Go for the home run.
It's literally around the world in 80 days, and it's all Longhorns.
80 seconds more like. That was so many plays so fast. The Longhorns, they finally do crack open a mid lane turret. So it definitely feels really good to get those picks, but at the same time, with all of the macro decisions that Northview are making, yeah, they're giving up these kills, which isn't super clean, but they're still getting what they want out of the Rift all the same time. So it's not exactly that one-sided play that I was expecting it to be at the beginning there.
Yeah, for sure. And showing a little bit of life here are the Longhorns, and being able to set themselves up a minute before this dragon is going to be crucial, right? You need to get this vision laid down, get position intact as Yubi caught out yet again. That's twice in a row. You cannot have that. Tidal wave comes out. Yubi is dead. Muhyan TPs into CC heaven, but there's the showstopper. Wordles into the tower now as the bubble also connects. You're missing one of your core pieces here in Kyoko, who's still in bot lane. Now going to be moving up after I pushed in that wave. RRR wants this red buff, but does it cost him his life? It does. This is tragedy for Northview as they're getting picked apart piece by piece.
Northview are just not playing around their 5-kill Syndra right now, Mazel. They've sent Kyoko off to that side lane, and every single play has not involved this player. Longhorns know exactly where he is at all times, and they're saying, hey, that guy's the problem. Let's go every single way else so that we can completely avoid it and start breaking apart every other piece. Like Yubi right now, got picked off twice in a row.
No way that Kyoko. No. Yeah, he's not even gonna make it. Okay. Mega Megadeth Rocket does come across, but just a little bit of sightseeing with that one. As resets do come out for the Longhorns as they claim Soul Point.
I was getting concerned for the Longhorns in that last play because, yes, they got those 2 picks, but they still lose out on the structure. But then they got 3 more after that. And at this point, there is some inkling of potentially getting back into this game because they still have those scaling members like we were talking about before all these picks happened. The Veigar, the Caitlyn, and the Karma. If you're giving over an inch to these champions, they can definitely start to take a mile and really explode any lead that you're giving over.
Ooh. That's a lot of damage on Veigar. Gets stunned up by the tidal wave. A beautiful box there from him. And they can't get the damage back onto him. Machion tries to go on the back line. Now you have Kyoko finally joining the fight after feels like forever. Can he do anything? Flashes over the wall, flashing forward into his death potentially. Power Unleashed not available. Kyoko gets shut down by Purple Crab. Machion is trying to separate the fight a little bit as Yubi is putting in work on this Jinx. Front to back is working out, and it's all rockets, baby. Ace in the hole does not matter. The double kill for Yubi, and you might get caught out twice, but third time is not so nice.
Even though Kyoko flashed into that melee range into all of the entire team, he knows he was the early game carry, and Yubi can take it from here. Double kill on Jinx, setting up for the Baron. PKetter has just spawned. That's something they have to consider. We get to watch this team fight once more. We're seeing all that potential, all that priority that they sent into Yubi completely ignored in this team fight, and they get punished just so hard for it.
One last rocket on a smart little pig. That was almost just an ace for Yubi if they would have stuck around any longer, but that also means a Baron picked up for Northview.
Scary sentence for Longhorns. Again, they're on their last leg in this series. One loss from here would eliminate them from the finals, would give over the championship to Northview Varsity, who are feeling pretty good after the last team fight, Lennon. You can see with their positioning, they're back to Kyoko on side lane duty, but they have a bit more understanding of what actually needs to happen. You can see Kyoko's not stepping up even with the Baron buff because they don't have vision. They know that PKetter very well could have company. Keeping the Baron buff on these minions keeps pressure here and makes sure that they can't get anything really absurd off of these objective bounties.
Inch their way forward. Purple Crab coming down here to provide a little bit of support. First objective bounty was also secured by the Longhorns, by the way, towards bot side for nice little bit of gold added to it. Try to even up this 6,000 gold deficit that the Longhorns find themselves in.
Up into that mid lane once more. Old Machion on the flank. He's got flash. Run!
Smart little pig! Oh no! You're getting fried up into some pork loins tonight! Ara gets the kill.
Well done for Machion. Didn't even need flash in the end because of that movement speed you get from the Q.
That's a minute before Dragon.
Yeah. That's really, really big deal. Because again, Longhorns, their only out from here is taking one of these Drakes. They can maybe get a steal, maybe actually take a fight before this. Now that Smart Little Pig is here, like we mentioned before, you do need to have the zone threat present before the fight actually happens.
Nice movement from the observers there to show us Machion in the side lane. Does have TP available. It actually looks like it's just given up. The Longhorns do not want to put up the fight here in this moment. They'll give up a second dragon to Northview here coming up in about 40 seconds, but they also lost their side lane tower, and that's the problem with making decisions early.
There's still that Baron on Machion, so you can't completely ignore this set. You can't give all of your resources over to this Drake. You're seeing that Wordles did need to go clear out all of those minions. And now, without the tank there to pave the way, it's really risky to move into all of these jungle camps and jungle brushes as well. Wordles staying top lane, even though it's up in 15 seconds.
This. Oh, okay, giving up the way a little bit there. Purple Crab decides to walk the smarter way. Dragon is spawning here in about 5 seconds. Machion makes it out with a smooth little move, and that's a second dragon for Northview.
chips in the night there. Didn't actually see either side because Longhorns committed to trying to find this sneaky set. They're not going to even attempt to take away this Drake Beaketter. Going off in that side lane once more. They've lost that out. They have to wait another 5 minutes. Kind of reminds me of card games at this point, Lennon. You're top decking, you're trying to find things, and oh no, you missed a draw, and your opponent just got a really big denial. And now you have to wait for 5 more draws.
Can I also say that Ara, with the Dominix completed, is actually going to be doing work to this front line?
That is absolutely true. This is this is not just
I just saw him clear that wolf camp in like 2 shots. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna hurt.
He's going for Infinity Edge too. If he gets that one, then I don't think anybody is going to live. Okay, he's taking a pit stop for healing reduction. I do appreciate that. Nice.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. It is something to deal with when you know, they have such tanky members, especially with the spirit massages and things along those lines. But we'll see just this moment of rest, it feels like, for Northview as they're getting ready for some more scuffles towards this top side.
I love scuffles. My favorite part of League of Legends. Give me more scuffles, gang. We're getting around that point. Baron
scuffles into kerfuffles.
Kerfuffles are even better, for sure.
They do have Muhian on the flank. It did get spotted out by the ward up there, though, so nice vision game from the Longhorns to at least give themselves that much information, right? Be able to step up a little bit, but it's stepping up into absolute terror, right? Like, you cannot get caught by any of these members, it feels like, of Northview.
At least do have Wordles in the area this time, but not trying to pave the way for that vision.
Might be in trouble.
Ooh, wait, yeah. There's definitely a chance for a Pillar of Ice to make this deadly.
Completed. I thought that Wordles was gonna stay, decides to complete the back, finish up the Frozen Heart. So, nice item pickup there, completion.
You know, Mazel, I think one of the reasons why they didn't go through with that is because Machion is 2 levels up on the Wordles right now.
No, what are you talking about? We throw ourselves into that with 9 times out of 10. What are you on about?
The set's kind of terrifying.
I agree. Especially against 2 tanky members. Like, we've already seen the 2v1 happen a couple times. Oh my gosh, they want to go for this play. I thought Ara was going to wait. He does, and now he's in some trouble. Has to get away. Kyoko is not in the fight. This is a 4v5. And Ara gets away slyly from the Trundle Pillar.
It's a good attempt from Beaketter to cancel out the dash from True Doesn't quite land it. Oh.
Wait, Wordles has to flash. That's a big cooldown. Tier 2 tower is taken out in the side lane as well. Right now, Northview is just running away with everything.
Clean turret take right there. Just biding their time, letting Kyoko obtain all of this pressure. And now that they have to go and clean up that mess with all these minions dying in the bottom lane, now Kyoko pulls the trigger and says, hey, I'm done with my chores. Coming over. I'm joining the fight.
The Baron's already started up, so you got to split your decision here. Kyoko's spotted out. They want to catch out the Syndra before he gets into the fight. Nice scout of the week. He's going to stop all of that in his tracks. Baron pulled off of by Northview as they want to take this fight instead. The slow comes in, the showstopper over the board. Facebreaker available, pulls him right back in. And this is the front to back you needed. Look at Yubi. Yubi is just untouched in the side. Ara taking the jungle 1v1, but it does not matter. The hopes are dashed for the Longhorns, and that's going to be a clean fight for Northview.
Could be game right now. Mazel is Purple Crab. Does not have flash. He's so vulnerable as this Veigar, and there's not a lot of wave clear here.
Getting excited yet or what, Smacks? Oh, the excitement overfloweth. We see Purple Crab, the last defense for the Longhorns, the saving grace, but the #1 seed will take their rightful place in the Georgia Finals and be your grand champion.
To Northview Varsity, we got Machion, Ara, Kyoko, Be My Yubi, and the Derpy Legend. Shout out to his YouTube channel right there at the end. Well played, boys. Well played.
Special shout out to Coach Raymond Brown. What a performance as well. My goodness. we set it up. There was a Goliath in the top lane. Well, Goliath didn't show up today. And it was team effort. It was team execution set up from the draft. And it was executed beautifully. I think that when you see something come to life like this, it is special, right? And I hope that this memory, it is just this best of 3, but this 2-0 smash is going to be something these players remember.
Big congratulations once more for these guys. I love the attack that they went in for this draft with so many win conditions in this. You have all of these players that can deal immense amounts of damage. You got the Graves, the Syndra, even the Set, and then of course Jinx here for Yubi.
I like the line you were saying about like you got the carry in the early game, but we all know who it comes down to. Yeah. Yubi picking it up. Oh man, it's some good stuff though. But again, congratulations to the Northview varsity team for taking down the Longhorns. Consolidation prize there, second place for the Longhorns, but all in all, just incredible stuff. I was so happy to be able to come in here and just gas these couple games and be able to join you for this wonderful chaos that is Georgia League of Legends. But thank you, Smacks, for joining us. Thank you to the production team behind the scenes, making us all look great, and to the audience for joining us for this round of games. It was an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you next time on Summoner's Rift.